Your Social Security just got a potential $1,400 boost, and nobody saw this coming. Just recently, a major advocacy organization shocked Washington by demanding Congress approve an emergency one-time payment of $1,400 for every single Social Security recipient in America. Some of you could receive the biggest supplemental payment in the program's history. Others might watch this opportunity vanish due to financial institutions that could have more power over your money than you realize. Here's the disturbing part. While this proposal fights to put money in your pocket, there's mounting evidence that banks might be able to control whether you actually receive it based on nothing more than your personal beliefs. Comment below with your current Social Security amount. What I'm about to reveal impacts different benefit levels in ways that could change everything, and I need to know who's watching. You might have missed the headlines completely. Senior advocacy groups push relief, emergency payment proposals, cost of living crisis solutions. But the real story is what happened behind those headlines. While most people were distracted by routine news, the Senior Citizens League just launched the most aggressive push for Social Security relief in decades. Here's what actually went down this summer. This nonpartisan organization that represents millions of older Americans basically declared war on Washington's inaction. Their statement was crystal clear. Inflation is destroying seniors financially, and it's time for Congress to authorize a one-time emergency catch-up payment of $1,400 for every Social Security beneficiary. But this wasn't just another advocacy letter. Buried in their proposal were warnings about systemic problems that go way beyond simple benefit calculations, problems that could determine whether any relief payment ever reaches your account. Now here's where this gets really interesting. While politicians keep talking about your annual cost of living adjustments, this $1,400 proposal exposes something much more serious. The way they calculate COLA increases is systematically working against you. The government uses something called the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners. Not seniors, not retirees, urban workers. That means they're measuring price increases based on what working-age people in cities spend money on, not what you actually need to survive. Think about how backwards that is. They're determining your cost of living adjustment based on people who don't live like you, don't shop like you, and don't have the same expenses as you. Here's the brutal math of what $1,400 means when you're already struggling. If you're surviving on under $1,000 monthly, and that's 7.3 million Americans on Social Security, this payment isn't extra income. It's the difference between keeping your apartment or losing it. If you're spending over $1,000 every month just on healthcare, 1 in 5 seniors, this could pay for an entire month of medications instead of cutting pills in half. If you're choosing between heating and eating this winter, $1,400 could be the difference between hypothermia and survival. But there's a catch nobody's talking about. Here's the plot twist that changes everything about this $1,400 payment. Recent events have exposed something terrifying. Major banks might have the power to decide who gets paid and who doesn't based on politics. This isn't some conspiracy theory. We're talking about documented cases where prominent Americans had their bank accounts shut down without warning, without explanation, without recourse. Take what happened to Melania Trump. After leaving the White House, her bank suddenly terminated her account. No warning. No valid reason given. When she tried to make a charitable donation to help foster kids with scholarships, a university actually rejected the money once they realized who it came from. Those children lost their educational opportunities because of political discrimination. Eric Trump reported being canceled across the entire banking system. Capital One, Chase, Bank of America, TD Bank, First Republic. All of them. No criminal charges, no legal justification, just account closures because of their last name. Now imagine this. If banks can shut down accounts for prominent, wealthy Americans based on politics, what's stopping them from interfering with your $1,400 Social Security payment? This gets even more disturbing when you understand the bigger picture. Financial experts and lawmakers are calling this Operation Choke Point 2.0, a coordinated effort where government regulators allegedly pressure banks to cut off services to people connected to certain political viewpoints. No hearings, no trials, no due process, just financial institutions deciding you're not worthy of basic banking services based on your beliefs or associations. Here's the nightmare scenario for Social Security recipients. Even if Congress approves the $1,400 payment, even if it gets signed into law, even if the Treasury Department issues the payments, your bank could delay it, freeze it, or find reasons to block it entirely. Your constitutional right to receive your own government benefits could be subject to a private bank's political approval. Think about how insane that is. And this doesn't just threaten the $1,400 payment. This threatens every government benefit, disability payments, VA benefits, tax refunds, Medicare reimbursements, everything. This is where the current administration's strategy becomes crucial for Social Security recipients. They're fighting two separate but connected battles that both affect your financial security. Battle 1, supporting emergency relief, like the $1,400 payment for seniors who are drowning in inflation while their fixed incomes lose purchasing power every month. Battle 2, dismantling the system that allows financial institutions to act as political gatekeepers for your own money. Administrative officials have already begun reviewing cases of politically motivated account closures. The message is clear: no American should have to worry about political blacklists when accessing their own funds. The genius of connecting these fights is obvious. Protect the most vulnerable people while simultaneously crushing institutional abuse of power. But critics are fighting back with everything they've got. Let's get real about what we're actually talking about here. This isn't about extra spending money or luxury purchases. For millions of Social Security recipients, $1,400 represents basic human survival. We're talking about preventing evictions for seniors whose rent has outpaced their fixed income. We're talking about purchasing life-saving medications instead of rationing pills to make them last longer. We're talking about buying nutritious food instead of choosing between groceries and utility bills. When opponents argue this payment is too expensive or fiscally irresponsible, they're essentially saying that Washington's bookkeeping is more important than preventing homelessness, medical emergencies, and malnutrition among the people who built this country. But here's the insidious part. Even if this payment gets approved, the banking system could sabotage it at the individual level. They don't need to stop the legislation. They just need to create obstacles, delays, or restrictions for people they decide don't deserve financial services. After all these political and financial forces play out, here's what the $1,400 payment could actually mean for your daily life. If you're barely surviving on under $1,000 monthly, this could be the difference between staying housed or becoming homeless, between taking your medications or suffering without them. If you're managing on $1,200 to $1,500 monthly, this could provide breathing room to catch up on bills, repairs, or medical expenses that have been piling up while your fixed income loses value to inflation. If you're among the fortunate with higher Social Security benefits, this could help offset the healthcare costs and housing expenses that keep rising faster than your annual COLA adjustments. But all of these positive impacts depend on one crucial factor: whether financial institutions allow you to access your own money without political interference. Here's what you need to do right now to protect your interests in both fights. First, make your position clear on the $1,400 payment. Should emergency Social Security relief move forward immediately? Comment: emergency relief if you support it, or fiscal responsibility if you oppose it. Second, document any unusual banking experiences you've had. If you've faced account restrictions, unexplained delays, or service denials that seemed politically motivated, that information matters for the bigger battle. Third, understand that these issues are connected. Banking freedom and Social Security relief are both about whether institutions serve people or control them. Fourth, prepare for the possibility that accessing any approved payment might require strategic thinking about which financial institutions you use and how they treat customers with different political perspectives. This $1,400 proposal represents something bigger than emergency financial relief. It's a test of whether America will prioritize the dignity and survival of seniors over bureaucratic inertia and institutional control. At the same time, the banking discrimination issue tests whether we'll allow private financial institutions to function as political gatekeepers for your constitutional rights and government benefits. Your financial security and freedom depend on the outcome of both battles. Emergency relief means nothing if you can't access it. Banking freedom means nothing if there's no relief to access. The real question isn't just whether you'll get $1,400, it's whether you'll live in a country where your access to your own money depends on institutional approval of your personal beliefs. Comment below with your benefit amount and tell me, do you prioritize emergency relief even if there are access risks? Are you more concerned about the payment or about banking freedom? Have you personally experienced financial discrimination? Subscribe now, because Social Security relief and banking freedom are both under attack, and staying informed isn't optional anymore. The systems that control your financial survival are changing rapidly, and knowledge is your only defense against being caught off guard by forces that want to decide who deserves financial services and who doesn't.